This is classified file 001. It contains the forensic documentation of an apartment that remained physically sealed for 3 days. The front door was secured. The deadbolt was thrown. The heavy brass chain was slid into the track, all locked from the inside. Inside the kitchen, a pot of coffee sat on the counter. The liquid was still steaming. Her cell phone remained on the center island. It had not been moved. There were no signs of a struggle. Based on the physical state of the room, the occupant had to be present, yet the apartment was empty. After 3 days of silence, the building superintendent drilled out the locks. He was performing a welfare check. Investigators initially looked for evidence of a break-in. That theory ended when they realized the chain lock had to be cut from the inside to gain entry. The case was logged as a closed-system anomaly, a space where the physical boundaries remained intact, yet the subject within had been removed. This locked room presented a logic trap. It required detectives to explain how a human being could exit a space without disturbing a single physical seal. Elena Vance followed a rigid daily routine. Her life was a series of predictable, documented movements. On her final evening, security footage shows her returning home with groceries. She never left. This timeline maps her final 12 hours. At 6 a.m., her coffee maker started. At 6:14, she sent a text. The 14 minutes that followed are a void of activity. No digital pings, no movement sensors triggered. Every recorded data point confirms she was in the kitchen at 6:14 a.m. By 6:28, she had vanished from a room that remained locked. Forensics began a systematic inspection of the perimeter. The apartment had 2 exterior windows. Both frames were painted shut. The paint seal was undisturbed. The HVAC vents were measured. They were too small to pass. Detectives tested the door. While a key turns the deadbolt, the sliding chain lock could only be engaged by someone standing inside the apartment. Radar scans of the floors and walls showed solid masonry. There were no hidden crawl spaces or structural modifications. The apartment was a forensic vacuum. There was no trace of an intruder and no trace of an exit. Since every physical avenue of escape was sealed, the evidence suggested a disappearance but the current forensic model cannot explain. The focus of the investigation shifted from the walls of the room to the data on her laptop. Her search history from the night before revealed a specific, recurring interest. She had been mapping the overlapping fields of view from the hallway security cameras. She identified a single, unobserved wedge in the center of her apartment, a spot where no camera or sensor could reach. A neighbor's microphone recorded a single, dull impact during the 14-minute window. It was the only sound caught on the floor. 3 days before she vanished, Elena stopped standing near the exterior walls of her home, spending all her time in that central, unobserved wedge. Her research focused on the center of the room, a space she appeared to believe could be accessed without crossing the perimeter. One theory suggests staging, that an intruder used specialized tools to slide the chain lock into place from the outside after removing the occupant. Police recreations proved this impossible. The angle of the door and the weight of the chain required a direct internal hand to secure it. Others argue she chose to disappear, engineering a puzzle to cover her tracks. That theory struggles with the timing. The steaming coffee and the active cell phone indicate someone interrupted in the middle of a routine, not someone beginning a planned escape. In the absence of a forensic answer, some experts looked to quantum tunneling. They studied the theory of matter passing through a solid barrier as a way to reconcile the locked door with the empty room. Every theory proposed eventually fails when confronted with the physical reality of the locked door. The facts of the scene do not allow for a logical conclusion. Elena Vance is still missing. The room she vanished from remains a perfectly sealed evidence locker. We look at our own locks as a guarantee of privacy. This case suggests that physical barriers are merely an illusion of safety. For the investigators who process the scene, the deadbolt no longer represents a boundary, but a reminder that a sealed room can still be breached. Sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones that never leave the room.